Let's say, hypothetically, that a friend or two of mine were in need of some advices. Perhaps, hypothetically, they were in a bit of conflict and are nearing dangerously close to what some may refer to as a schism. Hello, my name is hypothetically Shen Bapiro. Friend groups are tricky to manage. A whole lot of people have to spin a whole lot of plates to keep an entire set of people from stepping on each other's toes. This is only compounded when extended friend groups share the same space. The question, then, is how to proceed when this group piece is hypothetically broken. Let's say some rogue dweeb in a nerd group chat hypothetically was stirring beef with someone else. Perhaps this person, let's call them friend B, would feel forced to continue to interact with a hypothetical friend A to remain in contact with the rest of their friend group. Let's say then that, over the course of their continued toxic interactions, both parties grew quite a catalog of personal insults, real button pressers. What if then, hypothetically, they had a major blowout where friend B clearly overstepped a major boundary? The best and simplest response is for them to cut contact. However, this becomes problematic when the larger picture of the entire friend group is included. Perhaps friend A hypothetically owns and manages the space in which the entire friend group interacts. And questionably, it is moral for friend A to cut friend B out of all their own spaces, particularly if they're breaking pre-established moral guidelines. However, this has long-term consequences I feel don't need to be laid out. While foretelling a schism may seem melodramatic, it hypothetically is possible, even if in a much smaller sense. Here we come to my hypothetical advice. First of all, the involved parties need to contact neutrally, perhaps with an arbitrator, as soon as they feel comfortable and capable of rational discussion. If they were to hypothetically iron out some guidelines for their interaction and agree to ignore each other, perhaps they could continue to coexist in the same space without further issue. However, this is an ideal solution that seems unlikely in the messiness of real hypothetical human interactions. If for one reason or another this solution seems out of the question, then we can move on to a hypothetical stage 2. This would be an open conversation about what could be simplified to divorce papers. While it may seem awkward and useless, ignoring the fact that there will be fallout from the split-up is asinine. Anyone who feels the situation is of importance to them should parley about the way forward. For example, the reasonable limits of discussion about or tangential contact between the two parties. While immediately making a second space with which some could communicate may seem counterproductive to maintaining unity, it's inevitable anyways, and reaching an understanding between the groups will only build bridges for the future. Let me make it clear that my intention is not to manage someone else's relationship in order to maintain some status quo or peace. Friendships, sadly, do not last forever, which is why we need to value the time we do have together. Nothing beneficial comes out of forcing something for the greater good. However, I am firmly of the belief that if it is at all possible to make amends, it takes deliberate and quick, although not hasty, action from both sides, and that if it isn't possible, open communication is still key. Anyways, this whole situation is something I clearly just thought up as a hypothetical and am blabbering into the air about. It certainly has no relevance to any active situations.